In this video, let's go ahead and practice solving some multi-step equations together. Now, to be prepared to solve these types of equations, hopefully you already have a strong understanding in solving one-step equations as well as two-step equations and know how distributive property works. If you'd like to download this exact PDF, you can find a link to that below. Otherwise, I still encourage you to grab some paper, something to write with, and let's do some math together. For number 1, we have this equation of 6 is equal to 1 minus this 2x plus 5. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is see if we can combine some like terms. It looks like on the right side of the equation, we have two constants of 1 and 5. Those can be combined to make 6. So on the left side, we'll have 6 is equal to, and I'm going to write this negative 2x term first, and then 1 plus 5 equals 6 if you combine those constants. At this point, we have a two-step equation. When we have two-step equations, we're always going to go ahead and use addition or subtraction first, then multiplication or division second. So I'm going to go ahead and take away 6 from both sides here. On the left side, 6 minus 6 is 0. On the right side, we're going to have negative 2x plus 0, or I'm just going to write negative 2x. Last, we just want to go ahead and get a coefficient of 1 here, so we can go ahead and divide both sides by negative 2. If we do that, then on the left side, 0 divided by negative 2 is still going to be 0. And on the right side, negative 2x divided by negative 2 is going to be positive 1x, or just x. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this around here and say that x is equal to 0. That'll be our solution here. Here's number 2. In number 2, we have this equation of 8y minus 2, and that's going to be equal to negative 9 plus 7y. When we have these types of equations, our goal is to get all the variables to the same side. I'm going to go ahead and take away 7y from both sides just so I can have a positive coefficient for y. So on the left side here, we're going to get y minus 2, and that's going to equal negative 9, which is on the right side. Next, we're just going to go ahead and use the addition property of equality here and go ahead and add 2 to both sides just so we can get y alone here. All right, so if we go ahead and do that, we're going to get y plus nothing, or just y is equal to, and negative 9 plus 2 is going to be negative 7. So this will be our solution. All right, here is number 3. In number 3, we have negative 20. That's a constant on the left. That's equal to this negative 4x minus 6x on the right side. Now let's see. I think we can go ahead and combine some like terms here. So this negative 4x and this negative 6x or minus 6x can be combined as like terms on the right side. So we're going to have negative 20 is equal to, and negative 4x minus 6x is going to be negative 10x. All right. Now if we're going to go ahead and get x completely alone, we want its coefficient to be positive 1. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative 10. If we do that, then negative 20 divided by negative 10 is positive 2. And on the right side, negative 10x divided by negative 10 is going to be positive 1x, or just x. So I'm going to turn this around and say x will equal 2 here. All right, here is another one. For number 4, it looks like we have this x minus 4 on the left side, and that's equal to this negative 9 plus x on the right side. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take away x from the right side as well as take away x from the left side. Now, if we do that, something interesting is going to happen here. So on the left side, x minus x is going to be 0x. We're actually just left with negative 4 on the left side. And then on the right side, the same thing's going to happen, and we're going to get this statement that negative 4 is equal to negative 9. Now that's definitely not true, right? So we're going to go ahead and put a slash through this because negative 4 doesn't equal negative 9. And what we're going to say for our solution here is we're actually going to say that there is no solution, which means that there's actually no possible value for x that would ever make this equation true. So if you ever get a statement that is not true, like what we got here of negative 4 equals negative 9, if that's an untrue statement or a false statement, we're going to say there's no solution. Here's number 5. For number 5, we have this negative 8 is equal to this negative quantity of x plus 4. All right, so that's basically saying we have the opposite of what's inside here. Now what I do first is I would actually just write a negative 1 here because that's technically what is invisible in front. So this is a negative 1 multiplied by this x and a negative 1 multiplied by this 4. So just use some distributive property here. So this will be negative 8 is equal to, and then we have negative 1x, or just negative x, and then we could write plus negative 4 or just minus 4. All right, we have a two-step equation here. Let's go ahead and add 4 to both sides first. If we go ahead and add 4 to both sides, negative 8 plus 4 on the left side is going to be negative 4, and on the right side we're going to be left with negative x plus 0, or just negative x. Now remember, there is a coefficient of negative 1 in front of x, but we want a positive 1, so let's go ahead and divide both sides by negative 1. If we do that, negative 4 divided by negative 1 is positive 4, so we have 4 is equal to positive 1x, or just x. And then we can go ahead and just turn this around and say that x is equal to positive 4. That'll be our solution. For number 6, we have negative 18 minus the 6y on the left side. And on the right side, we have the 6 multiplied by the quantity of 1 plus 3y. All right, so we can't combine any like terms on the left side. On the right side, it looks like we can't either, but we can distribute the 6 to both of these terms inside here. So if we go ahead and do that, we're going to get negative 18 minus 6y is equal to, and then 6 times 1 is 6, and then 6 times 3y is going to be 18y. All right, so we have an equation with variables on both sides here. I'm going to get all the y's together. Let's go ahead and do that first. Feel free to deal with the constants first if you want to. I'm going to start by adding 6y on the left side and adding 6y along the right side. So if we go ahead and do that, then we're going to be left with negative 18 plus 0 on the left side, or just negative 18. And on the right side, we're going to get 6 plus, and we have 24y. Okay. At this point, we have a two-step equation. Let's go ahead and take away 6 from both sides to get all the constants to the left side. So we just have our variable term on the right side. So negative 18 minus 6 on the left is negative 24. And on the right side, 6 minus 6 is 0, and we just have positive 24y. And then finally, to get y completely alone or have a coefficient of positive 1, let's divide both sides by positive 24 here. If we do that, we're going to get 1y is equal to, or just y is equal to, and negative 24 divided by positive 24 is negative 1. So that'll be our solution. All right, let's see. For number 5, we have this 5x plus 34, and that's going to be equal to this negative 2 times the quantity of 1 minus 7x. All right, left side doesn't have anything we can really do to start. The right side, we can distribute this negative 2 to both of these terms here, though. So we're going to get this 5x plus 34, keep that the same on the left side. On the right side, negative 2 times 1 is going to be negative 2, and then negative 2 times this minus 7x, or this negative 7x, is going to be a positive 14x. Okay, so let's go ahead and start moving some pieces around so we can combine like terms on opposite sides of the equation. I want to get the x's together, and I want to keep a positive coefficient for them, so I'm going to go ahead and take away 5x from the left side and take away 5x from the right side. All right, so if we go ahead and take away 5x from both sides, then we're going to have 34 on the left side is equal to negative 2 plus 9x. Here we have a two-step equation, so we can go ahead and add 2 to the right side and add 2 to the left side. If we go ahead and do that, then we're going to get 36 on the left side is equal to 9x along the right side. And then if we go ahead and divide both sides by positive 9 here, we're going to get that x, or 1x, is equal to positive 4. That'll be our solution to this equation. All right, let's see what's going on in number 8. So for number 8, we have this negative 18 minus 6y is equal to 6 times the quantity of this 1 plus 3y. Okay, so similar to the last couple, I'm going to go ahead and start by distributing the 6 to both of these terms. If we do that, we're going to get negative 18 minus the 6y is going to equal 6 times 1 is 6 plus, and then 6 times 3y is going to be 18y. All right, so in this one, I'm going to go ahead and actually mix things up a little bit. I'm going to move the constants first. I'm going to move them to the left side. So I'm going to take away 6 and take away 6. Again, feel free to deal with the constants or the variables first. It's up to you. And when I do this, negative 18 minus 6 is negative 24. We have negative 24 minus 6y is equal to 18y. And then we can go ahead and get all of the y's together on the right side. Go ahead and add 6y to both sides of this equation. If we go ahead and do that, then all the y's will be along the right side. Okay, so if we do that, then I'm going to move this actually over up here. And so on the left side, we'll have negative 24, and that's going to be equal to positive 24y. And then for our last step here, let's go ahead and divide both sides by 24. If we go ahead and do that, we're going to find out that y is equal to negative 1. That'll be our solution. And maybe you did, or maybe you didn't notice, but this is the exact same problem as number 6. So if you got the same answer, then good job. All right, here is number 9. For number 9, we have this negative, and then we have the quantity of this 7 minus 4x. We have the opposite of whatever's inside there, and that is equal to 9. Now keep in mind that there's technically a negative 1 here, so it's the opposite of all these, because if you multiply anything by negative 1, it just is the opposite of the original. So negative 1 times 7 is negative 7. Then negative 1 times this minus 4x is going to be a plus 4x, and that's going to be equal to 9 on the right side. All right, so we have a two-step equation here. Let's go ahead and add 7 to both sides so we get all the constants to the right side of the equation. So we go ahead and use that, and we will get 4x is equal to, and 9 plus 7 should be 16. And then finally, if we go ahead and divide both sides by 4 here, we can say that 1x or x is equal to positive 4. All right, let's try another one. In this equation, we have this 12 is equal to negative 4 multiplied by the quantity of this negative 6x minus 3. All right, now what we're going to do here is distribute this negative 4 to both of these terms inside the parentheses first. So if we do that, we're going to get 12 is equal to, and then we're going to get this positive 24x, and then we're going to get a positive 12 here. All right, with the two-step equation here, we only have one term with an x on the right side. Let's go ahead and get rid of this 12 that is on the right side with it, so we can get an x equals. If we go ahead and subtract 12 from both sides, we're going to get 0 on the left side, and on the right side, we're going to be left with 24x, since we also get 0 from 12 minus 12. For this final step, let's go ahead and divide both sides by 24. If we do that, then on the left side, 0 divided by 24 is 0. So we're going to get 0 is equal to 1x, or just x. And we can turn that around and say that x would equal 0 for this solution. All right, for number 11, we have this 24y, and that's minus 22. That's equal to this negative 4 multiplied by the quantity of 1 minus 6y. All right, so starting off here, let's go ahead and distribute this negative 4 to both of these terms. If we do that, we have this 24y minus 22. That's equal to this negative 4 plus 24y. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what's going on here. If you notice something interesting, great. If you didn't, maybe pause and see if you can see what that is. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take away 24y from the right side as well as the left side. Now we have exactly 24y's on both sides, so this is a pretty interesting scenario that we have seen earlier as well. On the left side, we're just going to be left with negative 22, and on the right side, we're going to be left with negative 4. So that's it. So negative 22 equals negative 4. Well, that can't be true, right? So let's go ahead and put an slash through that equal sign and say that's not true. So there's actually no solution for this equation. There's no value for y that would make this equation true. All right, so just remember we had something like that earlier. If you don't remember, go ahead and scroll to that part of the video or the worksheet and see if that makes sense. All right, let's see what's going on in number 12. In number 12, we have 2 times the quantity of this 4x minus 3. Then we have this minus 8, and that's going to be equal to 4 plus 2x on the right side. Let's start off by distributing this 2 to both of these terms over here. 2 times 4x is going to be 8x, and 2 times this minus 3 is going to be minus 6. Then we have this minus 8, and that's going to be equal to 4 plus this 2x. All right, so it's been a little while since we've had to do this, but it looks like we have some like terms we can combine. So on the left side here, we have a negative 6 and a negative 8. If we combine those, we're going to get 8x and then minus 14, and that's going to be equal to 4 plus 2x along the right side. Okay, let's go ahead and get our variables to the same side. I'm going to go ahead and take away 2x and take away 2x. That way I can get all the x's to the left side, and that's generally where I like to keep them. 8x minus 2x is 6x. We have 6x minus 14. That's going to be equal to 4 on the right side. Then let's go ahead and solve this two-step equation. Let's go ahead and add 14 to both sides. If we go ahead and do that, then this minus 14 and plus 14 cancel out. We're going to get 6x plus 0, or just 6x equals, and we're going to get 18 along the right side. And then finally, let's go ahead and divide both sides by 6. If we do that, we're going to get 1x, or just x, is going to be equal to 3. That'll be our solution. All right, let's try another. In number 13, we have this negative 7x plus 26, and that's going to be equal to this negative 3 multiplied by the quantity of this 5x plus 2. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and distribute this negative 3 to both of these terms inside here. If we do that, we're going to have negative 7x plus 26, and that's going to be equal to negative 15x, and then minus 6. Okay. At this point, let's go ahead and get all our like terms together. I'm going to move all my x terms to the left side, and I want a positive coefficient. So let's move the negative 15x to the left side strategically. So we have a positive coefficient when we go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and add 15x to both sides here. By adding 15x, we're going to get a positive 8x on the left side plus 26, and that's going to equal this negative 6 on the right side. We have a two-step equation here. So first thing, let's go ahead and move the 26, the constant terms. Let's go ahead and subtract them from both sides, that 26. So we moved all the constants to the right side. If we do that, we're going to get 8x is equal to negative 32 along the right side. One last step, let's go ahead and use the division property of equality and divide both sides by 8 here. So we get 1x, or just x, is equal to negative 4. That'll be our solution. All right, here is 14. In 14, it looks like we have a couple times where we have to distribute. So we have negative 3 multiplied by the quantity of 4x plus 3. And then we have plus 4 multiplied by the quantity of this 6x plus 1. And we have this equal to 43 along the right side. All right, we can go ahead and distribute this negative 3 to both terms here and the 4 to both terms over here. So feel free to do both distributive properties at the same time. Negative 3 times 4x is going to be negative 12x. The negative 3 times positive 3 is going to be a minus 9, or negative 9. Then 4 times 6x is going to be a positive 24x. And then 4 times the 1 is going to be a positive 4. And this will be equal to 43. So the left side has a lot going on, and the right side just has that 43. At this point, let's go ahead and combine some like terms, because the left side has some like terms we can combine here. So negative 12x plus this 24x combined will get a positive 12x. And it looks like we have some more like terms we can combine here. So let's go ahead and combine this negative 9 with this positive 4. Negative 9 plus 4 is going to be negative 5, or I can write minus 5 here. And that's going to equal this 43 on the right side. So we have a two-step equation here. Let's go ahead and add 5 to both sides to get the constant terms together along the right side of the equation. If we go ahead and do that, we're going to have 12x. That's going to be equal to 48. And then let's go ahead and divide both sides by 12 here just to get 1x. If we do that, we're going to get x is equal to positive 4. So that would be our solution. All right, let's see what's going on for number 15. For number 15, we have this negative, and then we have this 1 plus 7y. So it's going to be flipping everything that's inside here. Then we have this minus 6 times the quantity of this negative 7 minus y. And then we have this equal to 36. All right, so we have this invisible negative 1 here. That just means we're multiplying everything inside here by negative 1. And then this is technically a negative 6 that's multiplying by both of these terms inside here, so keep that in mind. Negative 1 times 1 is going to be negative 1. Negative 1 times this 7y is going to be a negative 7y, or we can write minus 7y. This negative 6 times negative 7 is going to be a positive 42, so I'm going to write plus 42. And then negative 6 times, and this is going to be a negative 1y, that's going to be a positive 6y. All right, finally on the right side of the equation, we just have 36, so let's go ahead and write 36. And now it's time to just combine some like terms. Okay, on the left side, we got some things that we can combine. So we have this negative 7y combined with this positive 6y. If we add those together, we're going to get negative 1y, or just negative y. And then if we go ahead and combine these constants on the left side of the equation, negative 1 plus this 42 is going to be positive 41, so I'm going to write plus 41, and that's going to be equal to 36. So we have a two-step equation here. Let's go ahead and take away 41 from both sides here so that we can get the negative y alone. So we're going to get negative y is equal to negative 5. And then we have this coefficient of negative 1 here. We can get rid of it or turn it into a positive 1 by just dividing both sides by negative 1. So negative 1y divided by negative 1 is going to be positive 1y, or just y equals. And then negative 5 divided by negative 1 is positive 5. That'll be our solution. All right, here is one more practice problem. In number 16, we have this negative 5 times the quantity of this 1 minus 5x. And then we have plus 5 times the quantity of this negative 8x minus 2. And that's going to be equal to negative 4x minus 8x. On the left side of the equation, let's go ahead and distribute this negative 5 to both of these terms. and distribute this positive 5 to both of these terms. And maybe while we're at it, let's go ahead and see if we can just combine some like terms. Looks like on the right side, we can combine negative 4x minus 8x because they are indeed like terms with each other. All right, so on the left side, negative 5 times 1 is going to be negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5x is going to be a positive 25x. With 5 times this negative 8x is going to be a negative 40x. Let's go ahead and write that. Then 5 times negative 2 is going to be a negative 10. This is going to be equal to, and on the right side, negative 4x minus 8x is going to be negative 12x. All right, so the right side is simplified. The left side looks like it can be. So let's go ahead and combine this, these like terms of 25x minus this 40x. If we combine those, 25 minus 40 is going to be negative 15. So we have negative 15x. And then let's see, we have some other like terms. So we have this negative 5 minus 10, that's going to be negative 15. So let's write minus 15. And that's going to be equal to negative 12x along the right side. I think we have a two-step equation here. Let's get the x's together on one side. So we have two different terms that have x. Let's move them to the right side so they're isolated. So I'm going to add 15x to both sides here. That way we have that minus 15 or negative 15 alone on the left side. So we're going to get negative 15 is equal to, and then negative 12x plus 15x is positive 3x. All right, so now it's just a one-step equation. Let's go ahead and divide both sides by 3. If we do that, we're going to get negative 5 is equal to 1x. And we can turn this around and say that x is equal to negative 5. This would be our solution. All right, so there you have 16 different practice problems on dealing with some multi-step equations. Make sure when you're dealing with these types of equations, you look to see if there's any distributive property to take care of first, because that's multiplication. Then see if you can combine some like terms by looking at just the left side, and then doing the same thing by just looking at the right side. Once you have no more like terms and no more distributive property, just go ahead and use your properties of equality, where you either add things to both sides or subtract things to both sides, and then you can go ahead and combine some like terms that way, and then solve from there. So if you found the video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And as always, keep up the great work that you're already doing.